that item. We're getting ready to now talk about the first draft of the proposed budget. So we're going to be turning that over to the manager. He did share that by email. I'm sure he'll probably be throwing that on the board. I don't have to beg the forgiveness of the public, but I need to use the restroom 1 second. We need to take a 2 or 3 minute recess, or y'all keep going.
We keep going.
All right. You go. Pardon me.
So, so I did send out the first draft of the budget. There were several items left unfilled simply because some of the information I hadn't received yet. I actually just received the projections for state collected revenues today. So I have to go back and go through here, and that will affect some of the numbers on your budget, basically on the revenue. So if you remember on your sheet, there's several blank lines for your revenue, especially along sales tax and franchise tax and beer and wine tax distribution. All of those things come out of here. I just got this today. I will be going back and updating your budget proposal with that information. The other things are just, again, just the first draft for you to look at, ask questions about. If there's anything that you want me to concentrate on, Mr. Pasquarelli, if you don't mind me saying, sent me some information. He attended the NCLM conference last week or week before, and met with some folks. So he brought me some information before the meeting about from 2 different companies and signs and radars and things of that nature. So I will be meeting with them, and possibly there'll be something in your budget along those lines. Another gentleman, he brought to me another company about the ordinance, redoing the ordinance. We do have one company who's already given us a proposal. I'm still going to talk with this company that Ms. Pasquarelli brought to me. We'll meet with them. So that may change as well. So my point is, if there's things that you want, things you want to see, now would be the time for you to give it to me, and so that I can start to incorporate it into the budget. Because the next version I bring to you, though it won't be final, I want it to be very close to final, to the point where it just takes some tweaking here and there, as opposed to, like I said, this one I sent. This time it's just really a draft. I did actually, he brought something from Duke Energy, but I had already talked with them, and they gave me a proposal of how to change the downtown lighting to LED. So I've got that, and I'm going to incorporate those numbers into the budget. As changing the downtown into LED, brightening it up, as Ms. Marshall has busted at me about for a while now, but they're incorrect. So, but that's what I'm asking for. I send it to you ahead of time so you can look at it, and that way you can just sort of give me some guidance on what you want to see, so that I can produce an object or produce a budget that you can, again, next time look at, maybe be a couple more tweaks, et cetera, and then we can move on to the public hearing and move on to passage.
I just
I do have-
go ahead.
Okay.
I have a question on 103350. What is that?
103350.
It's a miscellaneous.
Oh, that's amazing that you, well, it's not amazing that you asked, but I asked that same question this afternoon. And when I go back and look, Food Line sent us a check that we didn't know what to do with.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, we put it in there. But since then, quite honestly, they put a stop payment on the check. So we need to take that out.
Too long.
Because I think so, but we didn't know what to do with it. Honestly, they sent honestly, they sent us two. They sent us a check and we didn't know what to do with it. So we asked questions about it.
You
And
always
we didn't,
cash it.
yeah, we didn't get,
Y'all-
right, exactly. We didn't get an answer. So I say deposit that. If they want it back, they're right.
Yeah,
They'll tell us.
exactly. That's
So we
fine.
deposited it. They sent us another one, which I wasn't aware that they sent us another one. And so we asked questions, and didn't deposit it. And the next thing I know, they put a stop payment on it. So that's the one they put stop payment on. So that's the error. We have to take that out. We need to take that out.
So they're not giving us that money?
Oh, they put a stop payment and they,
Well, let's start asking questions. I
like I said,
think you're asking questions at the wrong time.
Listen,
Now's the time to ask
my
questions.
philosophy is deposit it first.
Yeah.
Right.
Next question is
And ask.
Exactly.
You get a hold of Miss Erica, don't we?
Yeah, but that's what that was.
Okay.
What's all the color coding? What's purple, yellow,
Oh.
red?
Yeah, really nothing, but yeah, I just, as I'm doing, for instance, like, the purple up at the top, that's the Avalon taxes, that's really just coming over from a worksheet.
Okay.
Where I
I just
put-
didn't know what the.
That's more than you, that's just for me. Yeah. Mhm.
The sewer sanitation salaries, that dropped by $20,000. What's going on? with
Yeah.
that one?
Well, and if you look at, it just got reappropriated, I think it's public buildings that went up, a bit. So in other words, it was just reallocating some monies where we've been paying its salaries in the sewer. It moved to,
What was
public
that?
buildings.
The number.
Sewer salary, probably, I'll tell you in a minute.
It went from,
So, and water salary.
and street and
probably
highways went.
Yeah,
down.
did the same thing.
Yeah.
They went down, like, water salaries went down from 101,000 to 80,000. Sewer salaries probably did the same thing, went from 101 to 80. So basically, that's $40,000 that they went down.
Okay.
But then if you go over and look, for instance, public buildings went from 12 to 48.
Okay.
And then some other places went up as well. So it was just reallocated to, different line items.
I'd spoken with Steve about police officer salaries and there's the.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, he has, he's done a very good job of, doing some research with the county salaries and the local Wingate, Monroe, these guys' salaries and the things that they're doing. For instance, the county, and not just the police, the county gave from what I understand, the county gave everybody a $3.50 per hour raise. And they're contemplating another $3.50 per hour. And so that's gonna put some police officers coming in, starting with 55 and $57,000.
We're at 47 or something?
Correct. Well, actually, we're at 42, and then after a while, we get to 40. So my point is, that will be in front of you. I'm gonna have to really work on those police salaries, and we're working on them now. But that's gonna be a big pill to swallow.
Frank,
But it's gonna be a necessary pill.
I have noticed there at the bottom of police under capital outlay vehicles, you didn't have anything. I mean, what is the status of vehicles and what is our kind of policy? Do we buy, we used to buy a new one every year, but I don't know if that's still the case.
We're trying something new this year. This is our first year doing it.
Well, horses.
Bicycles.
Actually, we weren't going to the horses. We were gonna start out slow with the mule, but at any rate. So for years now, a company has been talking to me and talking to us about leasing the police vehicles. And we just hadn't, quite honestly, Matt, the chief then, he didn't really like it. He said, okay, but no, we didn't. So we never tried it. But they came in, they made a presentation, they showed us how much money we could save over time because they would take the car back sooner, they would sell it, we would get part of that, et cetera, et cetera. And they gave us some references for some local municipalities in this area who are already using them. We did our due diligence. Stephen called them, talked with them, and all of them had good things to say. Say, yeah, it's great. I mean, the first year is the biggest hit, but after that, you do save money, et cetera, et cetera. So this year, we're gonna start out slow with, I think we're gonna just lease two police vehicles and some public work vehicles.
Is that in here now?
I'm sorry.
Is that in here now, the lease?
Probably in the police's. I'm pretty sure Stephen's already put it in there. But that's why we're not buying. Usually we try to buy at least one car every year. And the problem though is we keep it 10 years. And by the time we sell it, it's just no good.
$500.
Yeah, it's just no good. And it's the maintenance costs of keeping it up for 10 years. Because as you imagine, police officers put a lot of wear and tear on those vehicles.
Yeah.
So this way, it's like keeping it 5 years, which cuts it in half. Then they take it back. We get a brand new police car. We lease a brand new one. They take that one back. They take it to auction. They sell it. They have a bottom line that they have to get. Anything over that bottom line, we also get that we can either apply to the lease or help pay down the lease, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the issue. So that's what we're doing.
And I'm assuming the first 3 years of that vehicle, that would probably get under warranty, so we don't have maintenance.
Oh, yeah.
for the most part.
Right. Don't have as much maintenance. And there's actually a maintenance contract after that up to certain things that they just fix automatically, and then other things we may have to pay for, but certainly not to the level that we're paying.
One other question I had flagged under the police was, and maybe you said 7 minutes ago and I missed it, but what the jump in community outreach and activities is pretty significant.
Where are you looking?
2,500 to 43,000 under police. I was trying to make sure I understood what's
What's the line?
oh, sorry, 5,100, 2610.
2016?
2610.
2610.
Yeah, 2,500 to 43,700.
I need to go back and look at that. I think that's a miss. I think,
It's a lot of reaching out.
yeah, it is. I think that's
We have
a,
special citizens.
I think that's an error. I'll go back and look, but I do think that's it.
Where would the leases fall under this budget?
I've been thinking. Equipment, maybe? Equipment control, subject, 5,800, because that's 48,000.
5,800?
5,100, 5,800. 10, 5,100, 5,800. Equipment,
Equipment controlled so 48,000?
yeah,
At
48,000.
least 3 cars? So that's,
Well, now, that's, I think we're starting with 3, but we're gonna get a couple more during this first
Okay.
year.
so that's
So, yeah, that's for the whole
over
year.
1,000.
So it's about 5, yeah, it's about 5 vehicles.
Just not to belabor too much on the lease. I mean, we lease the car and then we still pay to paint it as a police car and equip it, or does it come equipped and you lease the equipped car?
No, we lease the car and then we take the equipment, if it still can be used, out of the old car and just put it in the new car.
Okay.
If it can be used, we'd have to buy.
Right. But we otherwise paint it and.
No,
equip-
when they bring it to us,
It's
ready to go.
It's ready to go.
Yeah, it's-
And less the equipment.
right. I will double check that for you.
When we're talking about road repair and things like that, what did we budget for that? Where do I want to look? I found a few different things that looked like it, but
Well, for our roads, it'll be in Powellville.
yeah, I noted that.
So I got that comes, Powellville allocation is in this. So I'll know how much we're allocated when I do this part.
Did we discuss using some of the money that we had this year and budgeting some for next year though, to help with some of the road conditions or?
Well,
But I think that,
right, we're gonna budget, we're gonna budget for next year. Now, the money that, for this year,
58,000.
yeah, so I think we've already started to identify some roads that we're gonna try to get fixed before the year out.
Right,
But that wouldn't show in this.
right. Before, when you say year out, are you talking about budget year, or are you talking
No,
calendar year?
before
Right.
July 1.
So that's already.
But it
in
will
the
be,
works.
it'll be in Power Bill. And as soon as I go through and see what we're gonna be allotted, or get at least an idea of what we're gonna be allotted this year, then I'll know how to budget for it.
Frank, I'd like to bring up something under government body contracted services. This is, I think, page 2, 4100 group. And I'm only saying this because this is where other stuff is. And I'd like to just throw this out to the council for their consideration.
41 what,
4100 government body.
right?
And I'm gonna be talking down there in the contracted services area. That fire number there, the 35,000 that Frank is currently carrying, that's going to Beaver Lane. I would assume that's the Beaver Lane money, Frank. But one thing I would like to throw out to the council for their consideration. For almost a year, we have all suffered through as an elected body and a community. The Veterans Memorial issue. And I think we're on a good path now as a community. And I know we have plans to do something with it. But of course, this would have been in last year's budget and so forth. I understand that, but I don't know what those plans would have been. Only Frank and Public Works, could tell us what that would be. But we seem to have been on a path to expend some degree of money. Was that $500 or 5,000? I don't know. But to me, in the interest of goodwill, I would like to suggest that the council consider making a donation to the Veterans Memorial. We were going to spend some more money on it last year anyway, and I don't know what it was. Give what you will, but in my opinion, it would be a nice form of an olive branch, all things said and done. Now, again, I'm not asking for a decision or an amount tonight, but I'll be bringing it up later on, and of course, I'll leave that where it is, as to whether you think that is a good idea or not. Again, I think it's as much the gesture as it is the amount to a certain degree, but I am grateful for what they've done. I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a net asset and improvement for the community, if we can just get a little bit of the pain behind us. So I just throw that out there for the consideration of the group. Again, whether you want to talk about it now or not is up to you.
Do we know what the amount was that we were gonna spend to relocate that? And the
No,
land, et
because
cetera, how we're
we
gonna,
never got to that point.
I like that idea. Why did board member compensation go down? I don't get paid nearly enough this year. It's only $300, but hey.
Well, actually, I did a formula, and that's the number that came over, so, I have to go back and look at what was in last year. That's not in this year, and it's probably with the special meetings, because I know the board member compensation stayed the same, but, Miss Staten, and Miss Blayton gets a compensation for being a member of Carpo and COG. So perhaps the number of meetings, those number of meetings might have changed. But the compensation for the board was the same, so I'll go back and double check.
14,000 divided by 5, that's a sad year. Can I switch to hourly or something maybe?
Yeah, whatever this board decides,
What is incorporated with the fire budget there? Why is that not changed? Is it, are we just giving them a stipend or something? How does that work?
yeah, that's the 35 that the council donates to the Beaver Lane every year. I mean, it's changed, it has changed, it started out 20,000, went to 25. Then I think it went to 25 to maybe 30 or 32. Anyway, it ended up at 35, so that's just what, and this was over the course of several years that it changed
And they received all their other funding how?
from the county. And well, not from the county, but there's also the fire tax that the citizens pay, that they get as well.
Speaking of fire, how are fire hydrant projects?
We got some in, we're changing them out as we go, but I apologize, I can't tell you exactly how many have been changed and how many.
Is there any more budgeted in for fixing those? I know that's been a concern.
Yeah, we got. If it's not, it will be.
Okay. We had discussed street lighting on Main Street. How would that fall under if we could do something?
You mean what Duke was saying they were gonna do?
Well, I mean, I understand the LEDs, but weren't we talking about doing some sort of decorative lighting along Main Street and along, what the hell's the street called again? What is it? What's the street?
Elm,
Yeah.
North Elm.
In front of Alviarta?
This
I couldn't think.
Yeah, this way.
Because we had talked about like
Yeah.
falls
Yeah.
to down to the end and CES doing something to make downtown look pretty.
Well, I was thinking, I was under the impression that was gonna be phase 2 of the sidewalk thing, where they put in the decorative lighting.
And that may be, I'm just
That's what I
asking.
think it was. That was,
So,
After we do the lights there, yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking about putting power. Okay.
Frank, this is a point of general information, not so much anywhere specific, but how do we stand on major contracts in the town? You know, just as a refresher for like waste and any major, mowing, or how often are we doing those contracts or rebidding or just?
well, number one, the first thing you need to understand is that I've always been told and that we use the state's procurement.
Yeah.
So anything under $30,000 doesn't have to be bid at all. Between 30 and 90 for material is an informal bid. Get some bids in, it's not a public meeting, you don't open it like that, you just look at the bids, you try to take the lowest if it's a competent person. That's for buying material. For repairs and construction, the informal bid process goes from 30 up to like 500,000.
It does.
So we haven't done anything that requires.
Well, I'm talking about like trash.
Yeah, I understand. I was just trying to
Yeah.
be sure to make that point,
Yeah.
frame that point, right? So as far as trash, we are in the second year of a 3-year contract. They sent us a letter today. It's going up, I think like 50-something cents, and I'll look to be sure, but 50-something cents per trash can. Cemetery, we're in the second year of a 3-year contract. Theirs will go up to $2,500 a month for 2 mowings, unless it needs a third one. For instance, they came in last week and they said, well, with all this rain, Memorial Day's coming up, you want it looking nice, we may have to mow 3 times, but the contract is for them to mow twice, and if they need to mow a 3rd time, they have to come and let it be known and pretty much get permission to mow the 3rd time. So that's where we're with the cemetery.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, right, no problem. And so that's the cemetery contract. Trash, is there anything, let's see, what else?
And since the cemetery would be a $30,000 yearly bill, that would be open for informal bidding, right?
It was not this year.
No,
because
but
it's
next
3
year will, because if I'm doing the math, right, 25 times 12 is 30?
That's correct, but they're already under contract.
Right, I'm saying, so when it comes up for contract again at the end of next year,
And
it would be
And-
opened up for informal bidding?
no, It will be the next year. Because even though
When
it's,
when it's
when
expired.
the contract expires,
Yeah,
that's correct. When this contract expires, it will be open for informal bidding at that time.
Right.
Unless somebody comes in and says, hey, I can do it for 25,000.
Will you post it on the website?
We'll post it at that time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that how informal bids are presented to the public? How does that happen?
We post it on the website. We don't have to do ads and that.
Right.
It's informal, so we put it on the sign, we post it on the website, say, hey, we don't have to do any RFQ or anything like that. We just word of mouth, let it go out. And a lot of times, these are people who have done work for the town before. So, they come back and but quite honestly, I mean, and it's an informal bid, if you get somebody that's bidding and you've never worked with that person, you don't know what kind of work they do. You've got another company or that you've worked with 2 or 3 times in the past, then you have to wait it.
No, I'm not saying, I
Oh,
just
yeah,
want to
no.
know the process.
Yes, I understand.
Okay.
The devil you know versus the devil you don't.
No.
But now, speaking of cemetery though, quick update, did we ever complete our mapping software
We,
program or whatever we were
yeah,
doing?
we got everything in the software. The mapping, we still got to do a more or less survey, or inventory,
Okay,
to make sure that what we have in the software and what was on the index cards is correct. So we still have to do that. Excuse me, we still have to do that part.
that's still when you're thinking in with the budget and so forth,
Yeah,
just going forward.
yeah, actually, yeah, that's right.
And then,
But we just probably have to, we actually had a gentleman last year who had said he could come in and he could survey the cemetery for us, but he fell ill, so it didn't happen, but we'll try again. And speaking of that, you did, put money in the budget last year for, I won't say revamping,
the
but
gazebo.
the gazebo, working on the gazebo. Had a gentleman there that would do it, but I've contacted him. Since last July, we've talked to him several times. Finally, he told us last week that he's not gonna be able to do it. He's just too busy, et cetera. So we're gonna have to start going out looking, try to find someone to do that cemetery. Hopefully, what you put in last year was 12,000 for the rehab and then 4,800 for painting. So hopefully we can find somebody that's still willing to do it for about $17,000. But we'll see.
So that money hasn't been spent yet. Right?
No,
Anything else on anyone's mind at this level of thinking? When do you think you'll maybe give us another populated copy, do you think?
if you don't feel it's necessary to meet, because on your budget map, on your budget calendar, I have put meeting, like call a special meeting next week if you need it. But if you don't feel like we need a special meeting, I'll have that next, almost ready, just need a few tweaks. I'll have that for you at your work session in 2 weeks.
Okay. So certainly you're saying if anyone has anything major, try to get it to you here in the next.
Oh, yeah, get
next
it to
week.
me within the next week or so, so I can get it for you by your work session.
And by then you should at least have your first pass, something in every hole. by
There'll
then.
be something in,
Every hole.
there'll be something in every hole if it's a 0.
Yeah, and if you want to do the color coding thing,
Oh,
do something, do a code if like this could change,
Oh, okay.
color, that way we know.
Well, because because all these colors will be gone by then for me. So if I do any kind of color,
Yeah,
it
that
will
at
have,
least it'll draw my attention.
it
to
will have a
like-
purpose, right?
Okay.
I like the way you did it last year, though.
How did I do it actually?
Everything that was changed, a major change, we
Have
knew,
it highlighted?
you had to highlight it,
Okay, then.
and that made it easier.
or if you could color code ups and downs, red and green, that might help or something.
Okay, now we don't want no rainbows.